Continuing my series of original Pokemon character creations for my fanfiction project I'm working on, this is the fourth of the initial main characters before I expand things, Jareth Corvin. This is for my Battle Island scenario, where a bunch of ex-champions from all over the Pokemon world are invited to come compete to become leaders of different battle facilities. I'm also working on this in order to practice different techniques and in animation, comic creation, and in general for art and design. I'm having a good time working on this, even though there's been a lot of real-world stuff, as you know, going on that has been making it a bit harder. His home region is Galar, and he's a 23-year-old, more promiscuous bisexual sort who does not like when people cheat in official areas. He's glamorous and very fashionable, and often does full-themed outfits and costumes, and is very often changing of his clothing and the style he wears his hair in. He's adaptable both in and out of battle, and often secretly trains entire new benches of Pokemon before bringing them in for important matches. He's very aesthetic and has a sense of the beautiful and ugly, but loves the beautiful. One of his traits, good or bad, is that he often refuses to use Pokemon he deems too ugly. And, as a powerful battler, they must also be powerful enough. However, he will eschew uglier Pokemon before he eschews Pokemon that are weaker. His family are stage magicians, with a certain history of the criminal organizations related as well. He is actually fearful of certain things, but very much tries to hide all of his weaknesses from everyone. He has a terrible sense of time and can be absent-minded and get distracted. Sometimes, because of his jokes and tricks, he can cause trouble by misleading people. He, however, is actually very kind to his friends once he believes that they also view him as a friend back. 3 Pokemon I know are going to be in his initial party for the comic will be Corviknight, Galarian Rapidash, and Milotic, although I have a couple Pokemon I made up I'm considering adding in there. As for these designs, he may be wearing different costumes at different times, but I do need to decide on his base hairstyle and what I'm working with. I'm probably going to use several of these or things modified from these, but I very much am interested in people's opinions about favorite hairstyles, favorite outfits, and footwear as well. I've already decided that he has pale lavender eyes and is extremely slender and has very pale skin. This version here is when I made his heads a little bit smaller, and I also made his hand that was closer to the viewer a little smaller, because when I was looking at the original art, they looked slightly too large, considering he was supposed to be a full-grown adult and no longer a teenager, so I opted to change the design in this version to make the head and the hands smaller. Please do let me know if you like the larger head and hands version or the one where I made the head and hands a bit smaller as well, because that would be helpful for the final designs I'm going to go with. I absolutely knew his design had to be beautiful and attractive and something I would enjoy drawing, but I also knew that I wanted him to have very long hair. Well, also, for me, long hair is pretty much best on everyone all the time, and I actually sometimes find it difficult to draw shorter hair on characters, so I'm trying a lot of different things here. In general, I prefer the longer, so almost to the knees hairstyles or to the knees. I also tried a spiky hairstyle here, but I'm actually pretty sure I'm not going to go with that one. Although I do like it, I don't think it's quite what I was going for the character, because it seems more rugged and aggressive rather than elegant and glamorous. I intentionally incorporated a certain amount of angular shapes and triangles in the designs, where I also wanted to incorporate the idea of the color purple and magenta being very focused on in his character designs, so purple and magenta, as well as a certain amount of triangular shapes being involved, though I didn't limit my shape language, and I'm working within the more standard Pokemon style, with a bit leaning more towards my personal style, and having it be not too exaggerated in terms of shape language. I should also say that this entire video was done by using the time-lapse recording function in Procreate, and all these paintings were done in my Procreate app on my iPad Pro, which I do highly recommend. Because just Jareth's design wasn't long enough for a YouTube video in my opinion, I decided to do some of the new Pokemon or fakemon designs that I'll be using. These ones are all supposed to be from the Ontari region, which is the one based on Ontario, Canada, and supposed to be above the Unova region. Two of the other characters I've shown in previous videos are from this region. I wanted to do a poison ice type inspired by the real animal, the Mississauga Rattler. I want it to be a fairly rare and already powerful Pokemon despite the fact that it is a first stage. It's going to have a split evolution which requires items, plus leveling up during the correct time of day, which also consumes the items. It would be a contender for using Eviolite and a few other items. A famous Canadian lake monster called Ogopogo is the inspiration for this of the two optional evolutions. I ended up deciding I'm going to go Dragon Ice to be interesting. It's intended to be a lake monster that lives in the water, but is not actually water type. It can use many types of attacks. All three members of this evolutionary family, the first stage Veruca and the other alternate evolution, are able to use a wide variety of moves for type coverage. I had two different scale pattern designs. I ended up going with the diamond one, and I changed my mind on what colors to make it multiple times until I settled on the one I really liked. So you can see me changing my mind a lot here. Ogopo is meant to be more an aquatic creature, but this one, Tizruquez, is meant to be more land-dwelling. Ogopo is the daytime evolution, where Tizruquez is the night. This brutal viper is a dark poison type. I decided I needed to have certain colors and elements compare. As you saw, I swapped the color palettes for the evolution's shiny forms and decided on a purpley grayish one for Veruca. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I'll be back with another one quite soon from now, and I hope that you enjoy everything I'm making here. Please do leave all your suggestions and comments in the comment section below to help me decide what I'm going to work on next and the final designs for characters. Bye!